We're going to take some heavy cream here and we're going to turn this into homemade butter. I'm just going to use a regular mixing bowl here, my emulsion blender, which has a whisk attachment. You're going to need some cheesecloth just to help strain this at the end. But let's get started. We're going to put in about half of this bowl filled with cream. I've seen a lot of people saying that my recipes look really nice lately, and I'm, quote, qualified, not unqualified. So this is my first time attempting this. I have never made butter before. So this is as unqualified as it absolutely gets. But putting that cream in the bowl, we're just going to whisk it here. I'm going to start fairly slow on the whisking, and we're going to bring up the speed a little bit as it gets thicker. But this is going to take about 10 to 15 minutes of just using this whisk. You're starting to get some bubbles here. You're making your way towards whipped cream. If you were going to do a whipped cream, you would want less in here because it's going to be real thick. But here, you're starting to see kind of that whipped cream process. These are very light peaks. It's very easy to move the blender through it still. This is after probably about 5 minutes. Now it's starting to get a little thicker. This feels almost like whipped butter. I'm pushing down the sides here, and you can see it is just thick. So it's really hard to work this blender through it, but you just got to persevere. Keep pushing. The goal here is at a certain point, the buttermilk is going to start to seep out of what's left in here. You can see now it looks less like whipped cream, and it's starting to kind of flatten out. It's getting ready for those liquids to release, and that's exactly what you're looking for. Keep going. There we are. This is after about 15 minutes. You see the butter is starting to separate from the buttermilk. That is buttermilk. You can keep it. You can pour it out. I'm going to grab a mason jar, and I'm just going to kind of pour it into it. I'm going to filter this later because there's going to be some butter chunks in it, but this is just straight up buttermilk, so you can use this for, pancakes, whatever. I'm just going to put it in a jar, push it to the side, and then off camera, I'm going to filter it out. But after another, couple minutes, you're left with this. The butter will always also kind of gather in your whisk. That's basically when you know you're ready. Everywhere I've seen, that's kind of their point. But now you're just going to grab it, squeeze out as much of that buttermilk as you can, and that's the main goal from this point on. Any milk that you leave in the butter is what makes butter go rancid. Butter has a very decent shelf life in the fridge. If you get all of the milk out of it, it becomes far less perishable. So we're going to squeeze it out first, and then we're going to rinse it in ice water. This is also going to help keep it fairly solid so you can work with it. But we're just going to keep washing it. I'm going to do a mix of in the cheesecloth and then out of the cheesecloth. And the goal is you want to get it to a point where the water runs clear. It's almost like you're making rice here. So I'm going to put it in there. I'm going to squeeze it out. I'm going to take it out. I'm going to rinse it. I'm going to squeeze it again. Just going to keep moving it around, keep mixing it, trying to get almost like you're making dough and folding into new areas, trying to get new surface exposed that may have some milk solids left in them. This is right about before I was done. I did one more rinse of this, and then I'm just going to throw that into the fridge for a second, get out some nice cling film here, and we're going to pat this down into just kind of like a brick of butter. When you see the fancy butters in the store, they're always in kind of rectangular bricks. So that's what we're going to be going for. It is very malleable at this point, so your hands are going to get very buttery. But you want at this point to not see any liquid seeping out. If you do, you want to kind of dry it more or squeeze it out a little more. But that's the point I'm looking for. We're going to fold that up. Don't squeeze it too tight. You could roll it if you want and do like a Wellington style roll. Throw that in your fridge for a couple hours and you're done. That's butter. If you want to flavor it, you can. You could put garlic, you could put salt in it, anything you want. But that's just the easiest way to take cream and make butter. I know this is not some super fancy recipe, but I wanted to give it a try. I've never done anything like this before, and it was definitely harder than I expected. That little hand whisk had a lot of trouble once the cream started to get real thick. But really impressed with how this came out. That's butter, Seal it up, throw it back in your fridge, do whatever you want with it. But this came out fantastic. It looks exactly what butter should look like. It's a little more pale than some of those yellow butters you get in the store, but that's it, man. You made butter. Congratulations. Let me know if you like it.